Hey, good evening, everybody. How y'all doing? Glad to be back. Glad to be back. Thank y'all for joining. I know it's been a little bit. We've got this the Christmas holidays been going on. Work has been insane. We got New Year's right around the corner this week. But glad to be back. Glad to be back on with you guys. Definitely miss coming on. Appreciate all the love and support as always. Those of you that are in, drop a note, drop a line, let us know we're here, say what's up, talk to us tonight during the episode. We want to be as interactive as possible, so definitely appreciate it. Gonna throw up so you guys have it and can see it. The Patreon link. We finally got the Discord up and working after a little bit. Again, apologize that it took a little bit, but really thank y'all for all your support. If you're not already following Reflections, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. Hit us up on all the social media sites. It definitely helps with those algorithms, helps us grow, and helps us do our thing. But we got a few things going on tonight. We have a special guest with us tonight, and hopefully you guys are in for a good show and in for a treat. I think it's going to be a little different than normal. So I'm excited about that. I hope you guys are too. And again, thank y'all for joining us. I know D Brown, I don't know if he on here or not. He's usually pretty faithful, but ain't heard or seen from him as of yet. But again, you guys will try to be as interactive as possible. Thank you all very much. Also, want to let you know after the first of the year, there's going to be some changes with House Call, the show that we generally do on Thursday nights. We are probably going to be switching House Call to the first and third Wednesday of every month and moving Reflections to every Thursday night is probably what's going to happen. But we'll definitely make sure that that's posted, and you guys are well aware of that ahead of time, because we definitely appreciate all the love and support. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into tonight's episode. I don't want to keep and hold anything back, but of course, as always, we got to take a minute. We got to take a look at that reflection, right? Mirrors generally have three purposes: show you who you were, help you, with where you're at, and help you become who it is you want to be. So we're going to take a moment. We're going to face the man in the mirror, see if we can't take a look at that reflection and become better than what it was we started the day. So with that being said, I want to welcome our special guest, Miss Andrea Williams. She is the owner and lead firearms trainer for Silhouettes Firearms Training, LLC. And so thank you very much for joining us tonight, Miss Williams.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Harvey.
Oh, definitely. It's definitely a pleasure. Definitely a pleasure. So I know I'm gonna kind of throw it out there a little bit so people are aware. Some of the people that watch the shows and pay attention, they're familiar with Dex. Dex does the House Call show with me and a couple other gentlemen every week, and so we made that connection through Dex. So I'm definitely appreciative of him because I think it's honestly doing a little bit of research and looking, and number one, like you and I were talking earlier, I love to be able to highlight various entrepreneurs and business owners, especially when it's a Black owned business. But then now we also have a female entrepreneur that's out there, and she's in a field that I was pretty excited about, because you don't often see women heading up companies such as yourself, at least not as very frequently. I won't say it doesn't happen, but I don't think it's as common as it seems to be a male dominated industry, I guess we'll say. And so, I was really excited about that. Your logo and, just everything about it. I thought it was really cool. So, but as we get ready to jump in, go ahead and tell the people a little bit about yourself, your background. You can get as detailed as you want. That's completely up to you.
Well, thank you again, Dr. Harvey, for having me here to represent Silhouettes Firearms Training, LLC. We are located in a small town called Spring Lake, North Carolina. We were just established this year in May, and we are very excited for the future of being able to help instruct responsible gun owners with their fundamentals, with their concealed carry, and other things as we grow. And I guess for myself, Personally, I am just like probably many of your listeners. I am a mother, a wife, a grandmother. I am a friend, a sister, a daughter, and now an entrepreneur. And very blessed to be in this field. So
Okay.
that's it.
All right. All right. Army veteran too, aren't you?
That's right. Cool.
Okay. 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 Yeah, people don't understand that. Oh, that's an Army thing. But
Yes.
yeah, we have some of the listeners are pretty devout Marines. I don't know if one of them in particular is on here or not, but we're constantly clowning on each other. I got to get him his crayons. I know he's probably hungry, but got to get some holiday crayons in there for him. But no, no, it's exciting. And so, if you don't mind me asking, what was it that ultimately drove you to the decision to say, this is what I want to do?
Well, I was actually inspired by a female instructor who I had the pleasure of spending time in her class, and that is Dr. Joy Allen. So when I was in her class, it was amazing to me. Like, she looked just like me. She was very professional and very knowledgeable. And I became, I guess, enchanted by the fact that I was able to see someone who I felt looked like me in an industry that typically does not have females, women, partaking in this. And
Hmm.
so that was the foundation.
Okay. Okay. So how long have you been established
With the business,
with the business?
yep, since May of 2021.
Okay. All right. Now, how do I want to ask this?
Oh, just ask.
Oh, see, that's Dak should have warned you. That's a dangerous thing with me. So, with everything that has transpired over the course of the last 2 to 3 years, specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go out, 6 months to a year prior to the events of George Floyd's murder.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think the industry that you're in has changed from that point to that strategic inflection point, so to speak, and then after the events of January 6th?
So I think, first of all, that is an excellent question. So what I will say that is statistically sound is that there are more African Americans that are purchasing guns for their personal defense and for their home defense.
Okay.
Leading that demographic is African American women.
Okay.
So for me, I would feel like I am new to the game, but not new to identifying that we are consumers.
Hmm.
And when it comes to gun ownership, we definitely need to be responsible in how we're handling our weapons,
Okay.
making sure that we're knowledgeable. And so, where I think that it was a change with George Floyd, I
Hmm.
think that honestly that there was fear, and I think that the fear was a catalyst to wanting to own a weapon or know some sort of self-defense so that people would be able to protect themselves
Okay.
from harm's way.
Okay.
Then we have the January 6th incident. And so, just speaking from a veteran's perspective,
Mhm.
it was horrifying. But in my personal opinion, I do know that many different people went to the Capitol that day,
Hmm.
and those people had to go home. And when they went home, these people are our neighbors. They are our children's teachers, our doctors, our dentists, and our neighborhood people. And so I just really feel like in that knowledge, that there are people who would be willing to overthrow democracy, and
Hmm.
they're right around the corner.
Right.
So again, it's another motivating factor to be able to protect yourself and to protect your family from those type of people.
Hmm. Now, do you think that some of the, and I know it's opinion, it's going to be very much so an opinionated answer, but do you think that a lot of people that are choosing to purchase now have wanted to for some time and just never really had that push to let me go actually purchase, let me use, because I think sometimes people are afraid of a firearm, they because of what they see, whether in the media or what they see in the movies or what they see. Like I used to love, you can't take me to certain movies, military movies, because I'll sit there going, that's not what that does.
Right.
That's not what that does. Nope, that wouldn't happen. No, that explosion doesn't. No, you know what I mean? Like, those kinds of things. But obviously, before I had that knowledge, especially younger, you get all excited and you think that, you pick up a Glock and you think that it's, knocking down walls because of what you see in the movies and that type of thing. So do you think that these events kind of people were already wanting to, and it was just that catalyst to make them actually make the decision?
Well, I can only speak to my experiences. So,
Hmm.
since coming into the industry, I do know that when I have spoken to potential students, to be able to discuss what is the right way for them to go, their interest has always been in firearms. I even have veterans who, because like in the Army, at least I know for sure, like they're accustomed to having rifles,
Hmm.
enlisted, but the officers get the handgun.
Hmm.
And so you have veterans who have never held a handgun before, but they want to learn.
Right.
And so I think that, like, when I recall conversations, they have always been interested, but they never felt compelled to do it.
Okay.
Something in their lives have said that they wanted to do that. And that was whether they decided that they did not want to be a victim and they see what's going on out here in the streets,
Hmm.
or that they just want the opportunity to be able to defend themselves. They just want
Okay.
a fighting chance. And so they are like now in a space, a mindset where they're taking that very seriously.
Okay. Okay. So what exactly do you and your company offer a consumer? What exactly is it that they can approach your business and they can benefit from? What products or services?
Oh, yes. So for me, I love the brand spanking new gun owner or the person who wants to own a weapon. And what we do is we can do one-on-one instruction. We can do private group bookings. We do the basics of pistol shooting.
Okay.
So this is really fundamentals.
Okay.
And of course, we offer the North Carolina concealed carry handgun course.
Okay.
So right now, that's what we do. I would love to expand, but today, if
Hmm.
someone were to approach me, I am all about the fundamentals. And what I love about the fundamentals is it does not go away. Um,
Hmm.
this is something that um, we will continue, I believe, to have brand new gun owners. So
Yeah,
because
definitely.
of that, we want them to come in, because the thing is, Dr. Harvey, it has to be about knowledge. You mentioned earlier that it was like people may seem scared
Hmm.
because of what they've seen in the media, or maybe even in personal life, and it's true. People are scared, and it's like they know that a gun, if it is not handled properly, it is very dangerous.
Hmm.
And so, what we love to do is to educate, and we are firmly about that. This is a professional, inclusive setting, and we want to offer that. Um, and we would have a good time, because
Hmm.
it doesn't have to be like dry. For myself, I know it may not come through in this interview, but for myself, I am full of, I call it throwing glitter. So that's what I do. I throw glitter. I'm enthusiastic. So the way in which I instruct my students, while I am very serious about what I do, I am very interactive with my students. We are
Hmm.
very hands-on, and we get the job done.
Hmm. Well, I mean, that's good to know. I know recently I went to the range um, with some other individuals, and we it was a good time. I mean, it's for me, it's relaxing. It's also challenging myself. But like you said, it comes down to those fundamentals. How are you holding? Because if you're not holding the pistol correctly, if your finger's in the wrong part, in the wrong spot, and that slide comes back, and you're gonna, something as simple as cutting your finger, or the positioning and how to get the good shots in, and whatever. And so, but it's a good time, it's good knowledge. But if you don't have the right knowledge, you can go out there, and I mean, yeah, you can put rounds on a target, but are they effective? When the rubber really meets the road, especially if you're an individual that got it for self-protection, because we see, and we've talked about this on the house call show that Dax, myself, and a few other gentlemen that are on, we've talked about how, like, women being approached, and them, if they don't accept the advances, all of a sudden they're being attacked because they told a guy, I'm not interested in you. Recently, just a couple weeks ago, I read an article where an individual followed a young lady home, and when she unlocked her door and went to walk inside, he tried to force himself into the apartment. These types of things. Well, even if you have a weapon, but you don't know how to properly use it, it's not going to be beneficial to you in that moment. And I think a lot of people miss that. They miss the foundations. They think just because you have it, it's easier to draw it down and squeeze the trigger. And there's a whole lot more that takes place mentally, for that to happen. And so there has to be that repetition, that muscle memory, that correct and appropriate training. Just because your cousin, or your friend Lil Ray, you guys go out and out in the backyard and squeeze off a few rounds, doesn't mean you know what you're doing.
Absolutely. And I know, like, for potential students of mine, especially the female demographic, the women,
Mm-hmm.
um, we have to have other type of discussions that women
Definitely.
are able to have with one another.
Mm-hmm.
And many of them are not comfortable with firearms. That's not something that they want in their homes or near them. They don't want to carry it. So then we have to have other discussions about what are the other non-lethal options that you would have for yourself. Because
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, it is just being able to defend yourself,
Mm-hmm.
being able to give yourself enough time to get away from a situation.
Right.
And also, something else that I want to add is, I know that we are in a world that is full of social media.
Mm-hmm.
We have the IG, we have the Facebook, and Snapchats and chat snaps and all of that. But the thing is, we stay in our phones. I mean, it is just always right in our faces,
Mm-hmm.
from the youth even to some very seasoned adults.
Seasoned. I like that.
This is, this is very problematic.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get discipline. We need to teach our youth discipline, but we need to teach ourselves discipline as well, to
Mm-hmm.
not have that phone in our faces when we should be paying attention to the spaces that we're entering. It
Right.
is truly about being vigilant. And see that, even though when it comes to a firearms, that's not the fundamentals, but
Mm-hmm.
that is a part of the foundation. You
Right.
should know your area.
Mm-hmm.
You should be able to scan your areas. You should know who's around you. You should know who makes you feel uncomfortable or makes those hairs on the back of your neck just stand up.
Mm-hmm.
And there is nothing wrong with saying, "Woo, that person makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't like this."
Right.
And
I think it's important too to kind of segue a little bit and to point out, like, a lot of times when an individual, or even on these various shows, talk about firearms, it's always self-protection, protecting my family, protecting my home. But it's okay to own them because you enjoy them. It's okay to own a firearm because you just like to go to the range and you like to squeeze off some rounds. Like, a lot of people don't understand that can actually be therapeutic. It sounds kind of weird, but to somebody that's not accustomed to it, but for somebody who, it was a regular part of their life for so many years, that range is a safe place.
yeah,
And even the sounds and the smells and that it creates a safe environment. And so I think it's important that we recognize as well that it's okay to own a firearm because you just want to.
absolutely.
Like, you don't have to have some ulterior motive to want to learn how to shoot. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Now I know that like individual like that I went to the range with recently, we were looking at some various handguns, and one of the big things was making sure that it was comfortable in their hand. Did it fit well? Was it too large, too bulky, too heavy? And then not only that, was the individual going to be able to conceal it the way that they wanted to, whether it be within clothing or within, a handbag, or whatever the case may be. And then, as far as self-protection, the caliber, is it even worth carrying, type of thing. So when you have a new customer come in and they begin the training with you, are those things that you also kind of go over to kind of make sure that they have an understanding? Because just because you like the way it looks or like the way it sounds doesn't mean it's the right fit for you.
Absolutely. And yes, we do go over those things because it's very important. Something that I speak about a lot is that typically as women, we inherit our daddy's guns, or maybe our significant other or boyfriend or whomever wants to gift us a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And that weapon feels great for them, but to
Right.
us, it may be too heavy. It may be too much power. And so we have to be able to go shopping for our own things. And as I said in another podcast, it's like going shopping for your shoes,
Mm-hmm.
going shopping for your hair, if you like the weave or the wigs. Like, you want to make sure that that weapon fits you, not your man
Mm-hmm.
and not your daddy.
Mm-hmm.
So absolutely.
Okay, awesome. So what do you see as one of the biggest challenges? Number one, just as an entrepreneur, but number two, a woman in this industry.
Hmm. Another great question, Dr. Harvey.
I
So,
try. I do what I can.
um, hmm. Well, of course, I think that anytime that you enter into a male-dominated field,
Hmm.
regardless of what it is, I think that I feel like I would have to go the extra mile to be able to prove myself,
Okay.
and to prove that I am a serious firearms instructor. I also think that some of the challenges that firearms instructors have is not being able to access ranges.
Okay.
I think that that's huge. And I also think that a lot of times with new firearms instructors, it is difficult for people to take you on to co-instruct. And by co-instruct, that means that either you're able to watch a experienced instructor lead their class, and so you're able to take notes, or you are able to teach a portion of the class. And there are several different reasons for that. I think that part of it is because people are particular with how they do things, and
Okay.
they don't want that flow interrupted. And sometimes people are intimidated by newness.
Okay.
And so those are the things that come to mind from my own experience so far.
Okay. Okay. That kind of makes sense. I mean, so when you decided this is what you wanted to do, kind of what was the process for you to get to the point where, hey, I can do this. This is I'm launching my company.
Okay, so for me, I knew that I wanted a space. So I knew that I had to get into a brick and mortar.
Okay.
So I knew that. And of course, it was searching for the space and being able to have the conversation with the person that I leased from about what we were going to do. What is Silhouette's Firearms Training? Because, of course, with the name, it just people look and they're like, are you going to fire guns in there? And I mean, literally, that is questions that I have
Hmm.
been asked. And that is not so. We outsource a range, y'all. But anyway, once it was established of where I was going to be and that this would be my location, it was not a turnkey location. So a turnkey is a building that is already set up for you
Hmm.
and you're able to just move on in. No, this building required construction and it took a long time, months. So June, I came into the space, and in December, it was complete. I had to add bathrooms because of the vision that I had for Silhouettes and its growth potential. Because I truly do believe that the people will come once they know that Silhouettes is here. Um,
Hmm.
once they feel comfortable and ready to take that next step, they'll come. And
Okay.
so that was the process, and here I am.
Was there any type of formal education certifications that you had to get in order to be able to offer like the concealed carry course, those types of things?
Yes. And so initially, I started off with receiving my NRA certified instructor. So that is my foundation, the NRA.
Okay.
From here, I went to the USCCA to become a certified instructor with them. And this was important. See, so different states are different and they accept different things.
Okay.
The NRA is accepted everywhere. This
Hmm.
is the NRA has been around for many, many years, and for many Americans, it is a household name. So
Right.
you will start off being an NRA instructor, but with the USCCA, and there are a number of other institutions that are up and coming with getting certified instructors. But with the USCCA, they are, I would say, a bit more lenient when it comes to the way in which we are able to teach our students.
Okay.
So from there, once I received these things, I knew also that I wanted to offer the North Carolina concealed carry handgun course. And so I did have to take a course to become certified to do that. And
Okay.
that's what I did. So that's where I'm at.
Okay. Now, if you could limit it, I know it's probably difficult, but two people, whether personally or just, someone out there in the world, two people that you consider an inspiration, who would they be and why?
So the first person is my mother. Hi, Mom. Her name is Janice Richardson. She lives in Queens, New York. Um, you know, my mother is such a beautiful soul. So the thing is that, when we're children,
Hmm.
there are many things that we don't understand about our parents.
Right.
We don't understand the why. We don't understand, the sacrifices. But of course, me coming into age, me being a woman, me being a mother, I know the why. I
Hmm.
know my why, so it makes me have compassion for her why.
Okay.
And she is a huge inspiration, and I think probably one of my biggest cheerleaders.
Okay.
Shout out to my mother, Janice Richardson, again. And then with my second person, I would definitely have to say it's my husband,
Okay.
Christopher Williams. I hope you're watching, boo. But with my husband, I'm so grateful because he really puts up with all of me. And Dr. Harvey, I will wake up like 3 o'clock in the morning and just tap him, Chris, I have an idea. And I know he is just like, what in the world? But we are going on. Well, we're 14 years deep into our marriage, and we have become more accustomed to one another. It's a growth process.
So he just had to learn to deal with you waking him up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Ooh, let me tell you, because it is real. And see, Dr. Harvey, you're a writer too. I'm a writer
Hmm.
as well. So it's like when it hits you, and
Right. Right.
and also with the ideas, like my husband is forever supportive. So knowing that this is something that I wanted to do, it's I mean, he'll take his time to really think on it.
Hmm.
Like, Andrea, is this really what you want to do? Do you understand the challenges that are ahead? But when I'm like, yes, I'm determined,
That's awesome.
he is right there. So those are my two biggest inspirations.
That's awesome. That really is. Do you find it difficult to join or to not to join, to juggle the launching and establishment of your business? You're less than a year in, and your family, your husband, your kids. Is it difficult to juggle, or is it something that you just kind of have done?
Yep. So it's something that I have done, but I have not done it like alone.
Right.
So
Okay.
I will tell you that it is important to have a support system.
Okay.
Um, my support is in my family. I have a daughter. She's married and she has my grandchildren, but she is in her 20s. And
Okay.
then have my son. He is 12 years old. Even he is, supportive of the Silhouettes brand and the Silhouettes vision.
Okay.
And that's important because it is important for the youth in my family to be able to see that I'm an entrepreneur. There's someone who I know that's an entrepreneur that's really doing things. And guess what? I could be that too.
Mhm.
It is about being the inspiration to the youth.
I think that like we've done various things on the show with Mr. Ty Malone. He's the founder of Vibe, which is Voices in Black Empowerment. And it's a nonprofit, and their goal is to really empower, educate the African American community. Because one of the things, like he and I have had several conversations, a lot of it is that access to knowledge. It's not an individual's ability to learn. It's not an individual's ability to believe they can do better or be better. It's having access to the opportunities, having access to the education, having access to the, like, you can't do better if you're not taught better, type of thing. And if you don't know what you don't know,
That's right.
so to speak. And so to be able to have that, like you were saying with your kids, the fact that they can look and be like, you know what, there's another option other than traditional college and 9 to 5. That's exciting. I think that's very exciting. I think, it also sets up a mindset, that, what, you can do anything. That just because you don't fit the mold of an industry, or just because the market is quote unquote oversaturated, or because you're a parent, or like, these types of things don't have to stop you from doing what it is that you want to do with your life. And so I think that's very, very important that you're able to be that example.
Yeah. And thank you. And I will say that even though I would love for my son to go to college,
Mhm.
go to university, he is welcome to do whatever he wants, because he will be able to know that he doesn't have to go to a 4-year university or
Mhm.
college. He can go to a trade school or a community college to start off with, if that's
Mhm.
what he needed to do, and he will have the support of his parents.
Mhm. Yeah, I think having that, like you said, having that support structure is very important. I think a lot of people, they try to launch, their dream, and they do it on their own. Whether they don't have access to a support structure, or maybe that support structure was there in word only. And I think that can be discouraging for a brand new entrepreneur. You took that step, and then I think other people hesitate to start, their own businesses, or launch that dream, because they feel like, well, I have to quit my job and do this. And I encourage people all the time, what, work for somebody until you don't have to.
Uh,
But don't spend 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week building somebody else's dream and not giving yours any attention.
that's
Uh,
what.
I mean, we all get it. You got to eat, you got to have somewhere to sleep, you got to, so we understand that. But I think that can get discouraging sometimes, if we're not careful. So it's always exciting. That's why I like to have various entrepreneurs on the show, and from different backgrounds, and, whether it be authors, or we had individual on a few weeks ago that has like a beard oil and grooming company, and just different things, because there's so many different things that people can do. Like, if you want to make it, if something makes you happy, you can turn it into a business.
That's right.
And so that's really exciting. So what is next?
Well, for myself, I would love to be able to offer other firearms instructors who, of course, are credentialed, are insured, a space to be able to teach their students, if they would allow Silhouettes to host them. Because, as I said earlier, I know that that's a challenge. We don't have the space at times to be able to teach our students, or it's an astronomical fee.
Hmm.
And I do believe that I am going to look for expansion. So, of course, uh, I would love to be able to sell merchandise in here. Um, and I guess I would also love to be able to offer more classes
Okay.
that are not just the handgun or pistol, but also for the rifles and more of a defensive shooting. So that's what I see, at least in the next couple of years.
Okay, outstanding. Now, any advice for a an up and coming entrepreneur, trying to launch into whatever space they're trying to launch into?
Do not give up on yourself. And do not rely on the sight of others, uh, especially those who have not taken the walk. I so I do I'll listen to people,
Hmm.
but I can also turn them right off, because you cannot tell me how to operate my business if you have no business. And what do I
Fair.
look like listening to you with doing that? Now, if you want to tell me maybe what I can do with, potential clients, that's something different. But
Hmm.
typically, when it comes to entrepreneurship, it is not easy. You will hate it. It is an investment, a lot of money that is poured into it, because you're investing in your dream.
Okay.
So do not give up on yourself. Do not give up on your vision, and just continue to press forward until you decide that maybe this isn't what I need to take. And lastly, small victories are still victories.
Okay.
That's it.
I like that. Small victories are still victories.
Yes.
Now, those of you that are watching, if you have any questions, comments, or anything, please don't hesitate to drop them in there. But you are in the Carolinas,
Yes.
and not everyone watching is. And like you stated earlier, rules are very different various places. Like, honestly, the firearm lover in me would much rather be down in Florida than New York,
Right.
as far as that's concerned. But with that being said, how does an individual maybe that really doesn't know what they're doing, how do they go about finding a reputable place, a credentialed location? Um, if they're just trying to get started.
So the NRA, the USCCA, the websites, you are able to look up instructors.
Okay.
Uh, you are able to just, find an instructor that is around you, and it will populate the nearest instructor that is around you. And so by reputable, you may have an instructor that has a bunch of reviews that are good, because that may be a seasoned instructor. And then you may have a newbie, um, personally, like myself, who I may only have a few reviews,
Okay.
but you're able to gauge that. And then from there, do your great investigation by looking up their website, looking
Okay.
up Facebook and social media presence. And of course, when you're ready, reaching out to that person to see if that's an instructor that has what you need.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. And how can individuals get in touch with your business or get in touch with you?
Oh, great. So I do have a website, and that is https colon / silhouettes We also have a Facebook page, Silhouettes Firearms Training LLC. And of course, I have my phone number, 919-495-5770. You can text or call that number, and that is how you are able to reach out to me and send a message. And I will get back to you within a 48-hour period.
Okay. Okay. We'll definitely get that posted up in the notes on these, or in the chat. So individuals could definitely contact you. Definitely appreciate everybody coming in. We got people watching on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook right now. Everybody's commenting and being engaged, so that's been awesome. But before we end the segment tonight, does anybody have any other questions? Anything that they may want to ask about, or feedback, anything like that? Before we go, I want to give you the opportunity to do that. But I really appreciate your time. Appreciate it, Dax, definitely. Samurai Row on Twitch, appreciate you. But I appreciate your time tonight. I think what you're doing and stepping into the industry you're stepping into, I think is commendable. And I definitely think it's important. I think it's important that we help foster, especially in today's day and age, responsible gun ownership and properly educate individuals. So that's definitely encouraging for me. I think it's awesome, and hopefully be able to keep in touch. I am in the process of kind of setting up a panel discussion with various entrepreneurs to kind of, and we'll probably do it like via, a video presentation or something, but allow people to come in and just ask questions, ask the hard questions. How did you start? What did you have to do? The paperwork type stuff, the licensing type stuff, the getting the bank account and the business accounts, and how to network and how to market, and all these different things that individuals, like we were talking earlier, you don't know unless you're presented with the information. So trying to put something together like that, and would love to have you be a part of it, as well. And just have people, give them an opportunity to just kind of, chew on your ear and see what kind of information and knowledge they can glean from everybody. But definitely appreciate it. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
Yes. So I would like to say that even though we are in today's world and there are many different things happening, we do not live in a fear mindset. What Silhouettes Firearms Training LLC is here to promote is preparedness. We are not here to be fearful, because fear makes you make mistakes. We don't want that. We want preparedness, because if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Dr. Harvey, for having me. I'm so grateful.
Well, I appreciate it again. Thank you very much. Those of you that tuned in and watched, and that will watch in the, in the coming hours and days, we appreciate you. Thank you all for the love and support. If you haven't already, go follow Reflections with Dr. Gary Harvey on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. You name it, we're out there. There's a Linktree link that you can utilize and kind of follow us on everything. But with that being said, we want to thank you guys. And again, thank you, Ms. Williams, for your time. Until then, you guys, y'all pray for me. I'll pray for you, and we'll catch you next time on Reflections.